Jai Ho, my dear students. I am Ratnakar Suryamshi from SK Public School. In the last class, we have learnt about the one of the important topics of the lesson called tracing changes through 1,000 years. About the habitats we learnt. Even before that, we learnt about the history. What are the sources of history used? We learnt. So about all these things already we have learned. So today we are going to learn another concept, another topic in the lesson called tracing changes through 1,000 years. The new topic in this chapter is region and empire. Which one? Region and empire, which means area and empire. Which were the areas ruled by the various empires, various emperors, rulers, etc. So about this we will learn today. See that, just for example, the Cholas that we are going to learn in this class, as well as the Delhi Sultanates or the Mughals that we are going to learn in this class 7, these all had ruled vast areas. These all the empires ruled vast, very large areas. Right? Say just one example also we can take. Say, one of the important ruler of the Delhi Sultanates. One of the important rulers of the Delhi Sultanates called Ghiyasuddin Balban. Who was that? Ghiyasuddin Balban. His reigning period was 1266 to 1287. This Ghiyasuddin Balban, one of the important rulers of Delhi Sultanate, had controlled a vast area. He was the ruler of a vast empire. Who was that? Ghiyasuddin Balban. One of the Sanskrit Prashasti praised that Ghiyasuddin Balban controlled a vast, very wide area under his rule. Then say, his rule was extended from Gauda to Gajjana. Say, Gauda means, I would like to write here, Gauda means Bengal at present, Bengal. So, that is Gauda. Gajjana means Ghajni. Which one? Ghajni. Where is Ghajni at present? At present, Ghajni is in Afghanistan. Where it is? Afghanistan. Say, which means Ghiyasuddin Balban's control was extended from Bengal to Ghajni of present day Afghanistan. In eastern side Bengal and in the western side Ghajni or Gajjana. This was the area controlled by Ghiyasuddin Balban. Even Ghiyasuddin controlled the southern part of India. So the southern parts of India, which means Dravida, we call, Dravidian states at present. Dravidian states, Karnataka, Kerala, Andhra, Telugu. These are all. Telugu means Tamil Nadu. So Tamil means here, Tamil Nadu, Telugu means Andhra Pradesh. These are including at present which one? Telangana. These are the part of Dravidian. These are called as Dravidian states. These two were there under the control of Ghiyasuddin Balban. He ruled even the southern part of India also. Who? Ghiyasuddin Balban. But see that this is historians, what they did, they analyzed that the description given about the Ghiyasuddin Balban, it is an exaggerated explanation, it is an exaggerated description about Ghiyasuddin Balban. But at the same time, historians tried to understand why different rulers try to control the various areas of the subcontinent. Why they try to control? About this also, historians try to understand. Which means here one more point. When Ghiyasuddin Balban, when he moved to the southern part of India, at that time with his army, at that time people fled away. People migrated, people left those places and migrated to other places. This is also happened. And this was considered as an exaggeration. Mughals rule by the Sanskrit precious theme. And then we will, which means this is just one example I gave you, just one example about the region and empire. And then say by 700 common era many regions already possessed by 700, which means by 700 common era many regions already conquered by possessed distinct geographical conditions, geographical dimensions, as well as even various regions of the Indian subcontinent had its own language also. I mean, various languages, cultural characteristics were emerged by 700 common era in various parts of the Indian subcontinent. And then this is also important. Why? Because what happened by the 700 common era, various regions got geographical dimension, different geographical dimensions or characteristics or features, cultural aspects, cultural characteristics, as well as different languages they got. All the regions, different regions of the Indian subcontinent. And about these all the things we will learn in the later chapters, about those cultures, about those geographical characteristics of various regions of the Indian subcontinent. About this we will learn in the upcoming lessons. But see, there was a considerable conflict between the ruling dynasties to control these areas. Wars took place, conflicts took place between the various dynasties, and say occasionally what happens? Occasionally here, as I told you, the dynasties like the Cholas or the Khiljis or the Tughlaqs or the Mughals were able to build an empire that was pan-regional dynasties. What are those called? Pan-regional or spanning diverse regions or diverse empires. Pan-regional, say now. Pan-regional we call. Pan-regional means pan-regional, which means an empire which controlled various regions. Those empires are called as pan-regional empires. What are those called? Pan-regional empires or pan-regional dynasties. Mughals, Cholas, or it may be about the Khiljis I told you, correct? No? As well as about the Tughlaqs. These were the important dynasties and empires were pan-regional empires because they conquered various regions of the Indian subcontinent. They ruled various regions of the Indian subcontinent. Because of that, we call them as pan-regional dynasties or empires. And say, not all these empires were equally successful comparing to each other. For example, just one example also we can take here. Just one example we learn in the upcoming classes. Example, I mean, which were the important successful pan-regional empires and which were the important bit successful pan-regional empires. About this we will learn in the upcoming chapters about this. And then see that, which means here we learn what was the duration of the rulers, from which dynasty they belonged or he or she belonged. About all these things we will learn. When the Mughal Empire declined in the 18th century, it led to the emergence of various small states. I mean, when the Mughal Empire began to decline, began to disintegrate, at that time various small regional empires emerged in various parts of the Indian subcontinent. But years of imperial pan-regional rule had altered the character of the regions. What happens? See, as the Mughal Empire's rule was declined, various regional empires set up, local rulers were emerged. They began to rule those. For example, just example I am telling. See, Hyderabad Nizams were set up. They declared themselves independent from the Mughals' authority, and Nawabs of Bengal, they too claimed themselves. They declared themselves as independent rulers out of the Mughals' authority. In this way, various regional empires were set up, regional dynasties, regional rulers emerged because of the decline of the Mughal Empire in the 18th century. When in the 18th century. And then see that after this what happened? See, across most of the subcontinent, the regions were left with the legacies of the big rulers or the small states that had ruled over them. I mean, each area, each region had its own legacy, its own importance, its own significance, because of these were ruled by small or big dynasties or the rulers. And this was apparent in the emergence of many distinct and shared cultures or the shared traditions. Because of the pan-regional empires, what happened? Various regions began to mix up. Various regions began to share their character, share their culture, share their traditions, religions, etc. This was also happened because of the pan-regional empires. And even see that in the realms of governance, I mean in the way of administration, the language through the 1000 years between 700 to 1750, the character of the different regions did not grow in isolation. What happens? See, in between 700 to 1750, 700 to 1750, various regional languages emerged with having different, significant, unique characteristics. And these regions, I mean various regions also developed between this period because of the pan-regional empires. And these regions felt the impact of larger pan-regional forces of integration without ever quite losing their distinctiveness. These all the pan-regional empires or regions faced different aspects, different integration, regional integration. They were forced by the regional integration, but those regions did not give up their unique characteristics. I mean the characteristics or the features of those particular areas were remained as it is. But even though they were mixed up with the other regions, they shared their culture or their tradition or their practices or their beliefs or faiths with the other regions because they were part of pan-regional empires. So this is about what? This is about region and empire. Mainly what we have learned. Different dynasties, different empires ruled large parts of the Indian subcontinent, large areas or regions of the Indian subcontinent. Just one example, Delhi Sultan's famous ruler Ghiyasuddin Balban's example we took. His rule was extended from in the east, Bengal till the west. In the west it was till Ghazni, and even it was included Dravidian states. So about this mainly we learned, and the characteristics of the various regions were different, but they shared their characteristics because of the pan-regional empires. I mean multi-regional empires. So this is what we learned in this class or in this concept. In the next concept we learn about the old and new religions. I mean we are going to learn about the religions, old and new religions in the next class. Thank you. Jai Hind.